blazing the steel.
Bring the heat.
Mixing non-stop with the hottest DJ.
I'm your host, Joshua Diaz.
Non-stop.
Welcome to the lab. I'm your host, Joshua Diaz. Good to be here. Good to see you. It's Friday, September 23rd, 2022. Yes, it is. Life goes on. It certainly does go on. Thank you for being here and thank you for making us a part of your day. As you've seen in my community post, I have, at least for the people that want to listen, I've set the record straight. I have a girlfriend. I've had a girlfriend. I'll always have a girlfriend. You probably know her. Her name's Linda. She's in the chat. So I would like everybody to just be nice to her. You can be mean to me. Say whatever you want. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah. Get a life. It's important. It's important. It has been an interesting 12 days, 13 days. I'm not going to speak on it, although I've never had somebody try to systematically, piece by piece, ruin my life. I guess it is something that does happen. And it's not just me that these things happen to. So, like I said, I'm not going to address it anymore. And I'm just not. It's nobody's business now. So I just wanted to say that. So you can go do a whole show on that. Spend 5 hours talking about that. That'll be a good one for you. That'll be really interesting. Be a real interesting one. Big old snooze fest. Big old snooze fest. How's everybody doing? Welcome to the lab. Good to be here. Good to be back. I'd be lying if I told you that I wasn't nervous. I'm a little nervous. I haven't done this in a few days. And here we are. Here we are. And what do? I broadcast. I broadcast. I always have. I always will. And there's interesting stuff to talk about. I'll tell you that right now. Super interesting stuff to talk about. But while we're doing that, why doesn't everybody say where they're from? Head on in, say hello. I always love that. Thank you. Ann Arbor. I like Ann Arbor. Melissa, thank you so much. New Mexico. London. Yeah. Finally caught alive. Yeehaw. All right. Well, thank you everybody for being here. And again, I want to thank you for all the kind messages and support, people reaching out. That means a lot. It means a ton, you know. Onward and upward. What does it say? Let's put a "We love you, big boy" from everyone. I'll take a "We love you, big boy." I'll take a "We love you, big boy." Let's go. If you love the big boy, let's go. Oh, that's funny. Love you, big boy. Big boy. Lulu, love my virtual family. Always had y'all back. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I got a peek of the scientific crackhead guy. I mean, imagine the balls on that guy questioning. Like, he wears the same tank top every day and smokes on his front porch, criticizing Chris McDonough. I just find that so hilarious. Like, oh my God. I just got a good look at him and I was just like, holy shiza. My God in heaven. Love you, big boy. Love you, big boy. I love you too. I love you, big boy. I think that's funny. I think it's great. That's funny. Oh, you guys are hilarious. Does he look like Don Wells? No, he does not. Don Wells looks a little healthier than he does. I'll tell you that right now. So let's get into it. Who is familiar with Adnan Syed's story? It's a very fascinating story, interesting. One of the, if you're asking me, it seems like kind of a cut and dry trial. Now, when the podcast Serial came out addressing Adnan, it raises a lot of questions. It puts it back in the spotlight. This is a case that was settled back in, I think, the year 2000. And it was and as I was going through the podcast, the Serial podcast, Adnan, who's been in jail since he was 17, I believe he's like 42 or something like that now, is now, I believe Adnan is now released. The Baltimore prosecuting attorney filed a motion to have Adnan's conviction vacated, and it was by a judge. So now they have 1 month or 30 days to refile and or dismiss the case altogether. Now, this is a convicted murder. I mean, he was on trial. He's accused of strangling his girlfriend when he was 17 years old. And like I said, if you haven't listened to the podcast Serial, it's I don't know if it's biased, but it's interesting. I know that. It feels a little like they're trying to find every reason why he could be innocent, and which is, I guess, how it works, but it doesn't seem like it comes across very well. Did I miss a super chat? I didn't mean to. If I did, I'm trying to. Does he look like? He does not look like Don Wells. And Sandy, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, Linda. Happy for you, Linda. Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's great. Anyway, so let me bring this article up here, and we can talk about it. And I just want everybody to know that I'm reading an article. Okay, I didn't write this myself. Just so you know, we love you, big boy. Big boy loves you too. So Mosby, she is the chief prosecutor in Maryland, and she has been unmitigated. Now this is an article that doesn't favor her, and it is true. She's been indicted for some stuff. She's on her way out. It doesn't seem like she's done a great job. Shocking. Because you'll see kind of her stance here. But Marilyn Mosby's 10 years Baltimore chief prosecutor has been an unmitigated disaster for Charm City, highlighted by her persistent refusal to prosecute the guilty. Now, on her way out the door after being deposed by disgusted electorate, Mosby has one final insult for her beleaguered constituents, freeing a convicted murderer. And that is essentially what she's done. She has freed Adnan Syed, and what is going on is now he's on house arrest while they determine what they're going to do. Now, mind you, as you'll see in this article, she doesn't say that he's guilty or that he's innocent. I'm sorry. So vacating a conviction is not the same as, innocent and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, now on her way out the door being deposed by elected in 2014, Mosby was one of the first officials to run on a platform of de-prosecution, decarceration, and demonizing the police. The results were predictable. Homicides in Baltimore rose above 300 murders per year for every year Mosby was in office, a brutally high number for a mid-sized city. This year may set a new record. Citizens have fled, with Baltimore's population dropping by 35,000 people from 2010 to 2020. Now Mosby is under federal indictment for perjury and submitting false statements in an alleged attempt to swindle the federal government for COVID-19 relief funds to buy a vacation home in Florida. It's little wonder that Baltimore finally voted her out of office in 2022 in the 2022 Democratic primary, nominating instead a prosecutor who promises to try to restore order. Now, like Memphis, as we've talked about before, Memphis has also had many problems. Baltimore, same way. And, the crime there is astronomical. She freed a convicted murderer. And I find that interesting. It seems a little odd that she would do that. So I don't know. I'm not sure why, but she has. With the city reeling and her reputation in tatters, the safest exit strategy for Mosby would have been to wind down her role quietly, hoping that nobody noticed as the skulked as she skulked off to face her federal charges. Instead, Mosby is reinforcing her de-prosecution credentials, executing on a plan to free Adnan Syed, convicted of killing a teenage girl. So in 2000, a jury convicted Syed of murdering his ex-girlfriend, 18-year-old high school student Hae Min Lee, and she was strangled and found buried in a park. A classic domestic violence scenario. Syed had shown Lee's body to a friend who testified at trial and then enlisted the friend to help dispose of the body. Cell phone tower evidence corroborated that Syed was in the park when the victim was buried. As with every case, evidence can be attacked, whether challenging the accuracy of the cell phone location information or challenging the friend's testimony. Working through disputed issues of facts, the jury convicted Syed of first-degree murder, and he was sentenced to life plus 30 years. Enter the media, who seem to find it hard to believe that any murderers are guilty. And I somewhat agree with this. Adnan Syed's lawyer, I believe, is the lady that runs the Innocence Project. And that's an interesting one. The writers of the sensationalized podcast called Serial, released in 2014, claimed to have found an alibi witness, a high school student who would testify that she saw Syed in a library at the time of the murder. Experienced investigators and civilians pointed out the many problems with this alleged alibi witness. If it was just a regular day for her, how would she recall years later exactly where she was when Syed was in the library? And Syed himself said Syed himself had never made such a claim. Two former classmates of the alibi witness claimed that she was fabricating the story to help Syed. In the face of other evidence against Syed, including an eyewitness who saw Syed with the victim's body, the alibi's witness' shaky recollection would amount to virtually nothing. Adnan Syed is out of prison at the moment. He went to prison since he's been in prison since he was 17 years old. He's accused of killing his girlfriend that broke up with him. And there's an eyewitness that said he helped bury her. And now the lead prosecutor, who ran on less punishment, is now saying, that there were issues at trial. And they're saying that the issues at trial are that there was evidence not presented to the defense. And the defense says, the prosecutors are saying that they didn't get everything that they asked for, believe it or not. It's really so there's this thing that HBO does where they have these sensationalized shows, these documentaries. It started with the West Memphis 3. It went to Garrett Phillips, and now we're on Adnan Syed. Serial is not a bad podcast at all. This article right here is talking about how it has a major problem with them. I don't necessarily have a problem with the podcast. I've listened to it. It's well done, but they do take I would say liberties and really question things that probably shouldn't be questioned. Well, it's not even that they shouldn't be questioned. It's just that they're just questioning stuff just to do it. And that's kind of what's going on. Now, these HBO documentaries are done very well by very good people, very good producers and whatever. And so it comes across as, oh, it's so well put together, it's so well researched, it's this, it's that. In my personal opinion, and obviously a jury's, that Adnan Syed is guilty. It's a popular thing to jump on he was 17. He was railroaded. He was this, he was that. The fact of the matter is the facts don't line up well for Adnan. They never have lined up well for him. And there's a witness who claims to have helped him bury the body. Now what they're doing is they are questioning the cell phones. Let me just bring something up here real quick. Sure, yeah. Get rid of this. How's the chat doing? Everybody being nice? Probably not. Everybody being nice in the chat. That's good. All right. So there's Adnan and Hae Min Lee. Now, it was brought up that there were religious differences, and that's why he broke up with her. She started seeing another guy. Now, the witness, his friend, I can't think of his name. I really can't think of his name off the top of my head. But this guy is saying that Adnan told him prior to the killing that that's what he was going to do, that he was going to kill Hae Min Lee. And then that's what he testified to. Now, once again, like I said, be careful of the documentary. The problem with that is, and when I watch these documentaries, they do try to present it like they come off as they say that it's like objective. And I don't know if that's even possible, because the facts, let's see. I believe that the witness that saw him with the body was paid by Ellie and directed him what to say in the interview. I mean, what about this? You've got cell phone. The guy, first of all, the guy does not have an alibi. Second of all, there's a guy saying that he helped him bury the body and that they rode around with her in the trunk. But I don't, it just seems like more social justice gone wrong. And this man is out of prison. And the family said, look, if there is evidence indicating that he didn't do this, if there's somebody else, like we can prove that somebody else did this, then fine. But they've presented no other evidence. They say that there are other suspects possibly that had motive, but they've never shown that to anybody. He doesn't have an alibi because he was like any normal person who probably wouldn't remember what they were doing on that particular day unless the day was memorable, like killing somebody. Yeah, I don't. So, yes, he's released on a technicality. He is a convicted murderer. I mean, he was sentenced to life plus 30 years for the strangulation of this young lady. And Nita wrote, thank you so much. I appreciate that. So after spending so many years in prison, now it basically comes to, are they going to retry him or aren't they? Are they just going to dismiss this entire thing? Jealousy. She started seeing another guy. See, I appreciate this right here. I'm watching the Atlanta Braves right now with my dad, but just wanted to pop in and show some support. We'll watch the replay later. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Right. 30 days to try him again or drop the charges. I just don't see them going through another trial. No, they can retry him just because it was vacated. But I just don't see them retrying him. I really don't. I mean, are they really this trial, the retrial? It was almost like the Scott Peterson situation. And I'm not really sure what the motive to let him out was, but he's out after being accused of and convicted. Man, it's weird. It's really strange. But see now what happens is it's become very popular to champion for his innocence because they're like, well, there's no physical evidence. There's no physical evidence. There's no physical evidence. I mean, you got an eyewitness that said he helped bury her. You got no eyewitness. Or no, you got an eyewitness who helped and saw her in the trunk of the car. And the cell phone towers, they ping near or close to where he was in the park where she was buried. Now, in the podcast serial, the man who found her body was questioned, obviously, because he found the body. And then they say, well, what did he do? And he said, well, I just found the body and reported it to the police. But in serial, they make it seem like he may have something more to do with it. I just don't see it that way. I don't really see it that way, but I mean, look, It could definitely, these things, people don't understand, and including me, what exactly is good evidence. Look, a witness, an eyewitness, is eyewitness testimony. I mean, is that good enough to send somebody to prison for the rest of their life? How good is that story? How good is the story that the brother's telling? Or not the brother, the friend. The brother's champion for him constantly too. He was in the park and he came across her body. Saw it, and they made, and in the podcast they made it seem like it was something. It was really hard. It would have been really hard to find her body. I don't know that to be the case or not. We should all re-listen to Serial to remain objective. Maybe that's what I've been doing. And I went into it that way. But it's just the more and more you think, the more you hear. Even the podcast, in my opinion, doesn't look good for him, and they're trying to make it. They're splitting hairs, and I like I said, I agree that that's what should be done. Sorry, guys, I don't think you got a fair trial. They withheld facts to his attorney and effed his attorney He dropped the ball. Yeah, some people say that. I don't know if he got a fair trial or not. I wasn't there. I was like 14 at the time. It seems like he got a good trial to me. That's just what I think. Good to see you, Mimi. How are you? Crafting with Amy says sending positive vibes. I appreciate that. So this is something that I do want to talk about going forward. And so if you listen to that podcast, try and get familiar with it, because I'm going to cover this as it keeps going, because it is interesting. And I just wanted to pop on here and say hi, and that I'm back, whether people like it or not. I'm back here. So I appreciate all the support and the love, and thanks for being here. Podcast link in the description below. It's a fair point.
Blazing the steel.
Bring the heat.
Mixing non-stop with the hottest DJ.
I'm your host, Joshua Dees.
Non-stop.